Hi, I am Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. I want to tell you about my t-shirts. You can get your own at deaditesanddeck.com today. And if you don't want to take my word for it, here's a satisfied customer.
Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel, the cutest rockin' squirrel in the universe.
Hi, my name is Hindley, and this is Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. If you want a rockin' head like this, go to deadicesanddeck.com.
Travel on the devil's highway with Dana and Steve. Movies, the good, the bad, the awesome. The highway is bleak, the road is long. But the movies have us on the run. Horror, comedy, sci-fi, action, and so much more. We are going to hell on the devil's highway. But what a ride awaits us at the movies.
I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared. Be kind, be honest, be courageous. I wanna be a leader, don't
Hi, I am Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. Don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chick on Deadites on Deck on YouTube. Oh, and subscribe, man.
And above all, don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chicks Top 10.
Howdy, gang, and welcome to yet another Evil Dead Chicks Top 10. Hey, the poet. Hopefully, this will be an interesting list and maybe give you something else to watch other than those damn Leprechaun films in the month of March, folks. I know it seems like I'm, really harping on that, but, I just wish that there could be, something different other than, the Leprechaun films are always brought up for horror films for you to watch around St. Patrick's Day. I get it. I get it. But once again, I have never been a huge fan of the Leprechaun films anyway. To me, they're not, slasher films or anything like that. And I know that people like them for the pure badness that's associated with them, and I get that. But I kind of wanted to, turn things on its ear a little bit and put something different out there for this top 10. Plus, I don't think there's enough Leprechaun films to put out a top 10 for that. Um, so, wanted to try something different. I hope you guys enjoyed the second Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel logo T-shirt commercial, starring my buddy Henley. That's Candace's nephew. He was kind enough to do a little segment for my promo for those, or commercial, whatever you want to call it. And just want to remind you also that me and Steve have a new Highway to Hell for Scream 7. It's spoiler free. So if you want to check that out and you haven't checked it out yet, we also had a watch along for Cannibal Holocaust last night. And I appreciate again those of you that were able to attend. And there will be a My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. So if you're seeing me now and you get to come back for a My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade, I will surely appreciate it. And if you can't, if you want to watch this on the replay, that will be perfectly fine. I do have a new overlay for the Evil Dead Chicks Top 10. Hopefully, I think I've got overlays now for just about everything that I do. Maybe one or two more that I need to create. And hopefully my behind will remember to put these things on there. So we got all that coming up, plus a whole hopefully cavalcade of things coming up this coming week. I've still got the poll up for if I have to change times for the regular Monday through Friday live streams. Y'all keep voting. I think there's been seven people have voted so far, and I'm shocked that a lot of people are picking the 10 p.m. time slot. But like I said last night, people like the poet and Kits, they usually show up for almost everything that they are able to. So I know I put a poll up there, but I'm gonna go where my loyalties lie too, when considering what to change this for. So if you haven't gotten your vote in, you want to have some say so, please go in there and vote. I've also got some watch along uh, polls up as well. So get in on those and vote on those while you still can. I'm not changing my times just yet. It hasn't come to pass that the necessity for changing it, but I just wanted to put that out there that there's a possibility that in the next month or so, I may have to change my times. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get to this list, and I actually have physical copies of all of these. Two or three of them I had to pull off Steve's shelf, but that way I didn't have to, just get pictures. I actually have physical copies I can show you. Now, again, this top 10 is not in any order, folks. From favorite to on down the list. These are just ones I came up with. These are from a variety of years from the 70s into the 80s. I don't think there's any 1990 ones or later. But these are just my top 10 horror films released in the month of March. And the first one I have talked about briefly before, but that's The Funhouse, directed by Tobe Hooper. Again, I find The Funhouse a fun little, slasher film, right? Technically, to me, it's a slasher film. I think it's very well made. I think it has good acting in it. Has some good kills in it. Has a interesting killer, I will say that. I don't want to say too much in case there are those of you out there that have not seen The Funhouse. But, I have a lot of fun every time I watch The Funhouse. And I think it's one of Tobe Hooper's better 80s films. He of course was responsible for the classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is classic in my opinion. It's classic, gritty, drive-in horror, and I tend to gravitate towards that. So, the basic plot is a group of young people go to a carnival, and they, for whatever reason, decide that they want to stay all night in a fun house and go undetected. But a murder happens that they're not supposed to see, of course. And the killer and somebody close to the killer find out about it. And that sets in motion a very frightening chain of events for these young people. So that's the basic story of The Funhouse. Again, that one came out in 1981. The next one, you knew this was going to, if an Evil Dead movie came out in March, I was going to have it on here, at least if it was the original Evil Dead movies. And this is Evil Dead 2, directed by Mr. Sam Raimi. What can I say about this? It's part of the original trilogy. Yeah. Kit says Evil Dead 2 would have to be there. Of course. Yeah. This one was released in March. And, like I said, what can I say about this? The original Evil Dead trilogy, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness, that is my favorite horror trilogy. When people ask me what my favorite horror film is, I just automatically, without thinking, say The Evil Dead. Now, I can't say that the Evil Dead movies were what got me into horror per se. Um, that probably would have been the influence of my parents, which I don't think they watched the Evil Dead movies before, I came along, got older, and started watching stuff. But Evil Dead 2, I actually watched before Evil Dead. And I'll tell you what got me to rent it was this skull right here and the tagline Dead by Dawn. I was like, oh, I didn't know anything about Sam Raimi or Bruce Campbell or any of those guys at that time. But you can believe that over the succeeding years after seeing Evil Dead 2, I was a huge fan of not only Sam Raimi, but Bruce Campbell, Rob Tappert, all the guys that worked on these, Scott Spiegel, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us, but Scott Spiegel was always very instrumental. And I'm sure not only Sam Raimi, but Bruce Campbell and their filmmaking escapades, because they made a lot of films growing up when they were a little more than teenagers. They made a lot of short films, and at one time you could purchase a lot of those. And I actually have them. I think they're still in here, which I don't think I've showed these before, or I haven't showed them for a while. This is before the Evil Dead, the Super 8 short films. So I have all three. I have all three of these. And you could, I think super8shorts.com was where I ended up getting these. So if you want to visit the site and see if they've still got them, and they come with this great, stuff. I mean, these actually look like real photos, the ones that you had to send the film off and get the photos. And probably what they did, I mean, they've got is it Fuji or whatever, but they've even got that on the back. I know y'all can't see that good, but probably what they did was just developed a bunch of these photos to put them in these discs. You can see Scott Spiegel there in that one picture. But these are really cool little sets. It allows you to see a lot of the stuff that Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell and Rob Tappert and all those guys worked on, before the Evil Dead. And these were transferred from a SVHS onto DVD. Like I said, there were 3 volumes. And every one of them, came with these actual photos. You see Bruce Campbell in that one. You look real close. There's another one of Bruce Campbell. I think that's when they were filming Strikers War, which went on to become a full-length film, Thou Shalt Not Kill, Except. You can see Mr. Ted Raimi there. And I think that's Josh Becker, who was another guy that directed some of these Super 8 films. There's Sam Raimi and Josh Becker there. But yeah, these are really cool little sets. I think they were about $30 a piece. There's another photo there. And I did get permission from what's his name? Was it Bill Ward? I think that was who, because he's like co-owner of this stuff. And I asked him if I would be able to show these, just for a short time and do like a watch along type of thing with them. And he did give me permission through email to do that, like for a one time only thing. And then I would take the films down after that. But I did track him down and I asked about doing that. But anyway, I don't think I need to tell any of you horror fans what Evil Dead 2 is actually about. I mean, most horror fans, hardcore horror fans, know what the Evil Dead series is about. And the original series is the one for me, and it's the one I always go back to. It tells the tale of Ash or Ashley Williams. And he just keeps going back to that same damn cabin, basically, doesn't he? As the team says, you recap the decap. So anyway, so the next one is from 1986, and that's Kevin Tenney's Witchboard, which is, this movie has the distinction of being the first VHS I ever rented and watched on my family's new VCR. So it's a thousand wonders that I can still remember what what the movie was. But I always have loved Witchboard. And I met Kevin Tenney many moons later, and he was really super nice and stuff like that. If you've never gotten a chance to meet Kevin Tenney and you do, chance arises where you can, definitely meet that guy. But Witchboard tells the tale of these people that mess around with a Ouija board. And the guy that owns the Ouija board, he leaves the party and does not take his Ouija board with him. The character played by Tawny Katane, who was also in Bachelor Parties, some music, Whitesnake music videos, etc., etc. She becomes obsessed and becomes a victim of what they call in the film progressive entrapment, where an evil spirit takes over her body and makes her do and say things that she would not normally do, including trying to kill her boyfriend and anybody else that tries to stop her from communicating with the spirit Malfador through this Ouija board. So Kevin Tenney also did Night of the Demons, which I also like. So there's Witchboard. The next one is George Romero's The Crazies from 1973, not the remake, but the original. So what is The Crazies about? So we've got a plane carrying some biological weapons and it crash lands in a small rural town. Okay, bad deal right there, right? So this causes many people to be infected with a virus that sends them into a homicidal frenzy. They kill anybody around them in various ways if you don't get out of their way. So, and of course, as with the Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead stuff, or films, there is a small group of survivors that have to band together to stave off these homicidal infected people that are infected with this virus from this biological weapon. Um, And Lynn Lowry's in this from Shivers and I Drink Your Blood, etc., etc. Um, I love the Crazies. It's creepy. It's crazy in its own way, and it all works together just to make one really great horror film. And I don't hear a lot of people talk about George Romero's The Crazies, and I wonder why. Because this is just as great of a film as his dead stuff, in my opinion. Um, so if you haven't checked out The Crazies, the original again from 1973, I urge you to seek this one out for a free copy, folks, um, and give The Crazies a watch. All right. So the next one I had to pull off of Steve's shelf. And it's not Vault of Horror, but it's Tales from the Crypt from 1972, which is an anthology film. Very, very good. Has the killer Santa, or the killer dressed as Santa Claus, uh, menacing Joan Collins, who is the woman that ends up killing her husband and trying to hide the body, and this homicidal maniac kind of interrupts things. But basically, what Tales from the Crypt is we have five people that are traveling through a certain area, and they stumble upon these catacombs, and then they find themselves in a cavern, and there's no way out. Um, So a mysterious figure appears to reveal to each of these people the shocking events that will lead to their well deserved, untimely, and unavoidable demise or death. Um, we've got uh, Joan Collins, we've got Peter Cushing, we've got Patrick McGee, um, Ralph Richardson, and Freddie Francis. Fantastic little film. And if you're a fan of the EC Comics style of uh, writing, and hey TJ, the Peter Cushing stories your fave? Um, yeah, I like all the stories in Tales from the Crypt, but I guess probably the one that people talk about most is the killer dressed as Santa Claus. So if you've never seen Tales from the Crypt, I watched it once a while back with Steve, but I refreshed myself around Christmas time. Actually, while I was wrapping Christmas presents, I was watching the Tales from the Crypt because I watched one movie on Tubi or something, and then another movie came on after it, and it was Tales from the Crypt, and I was like, oh well, I'll just go ahead and watch it. But yeah, I really, really love this anthology. I'm a fan of anthologies anyway. But when they are really extremely well made, and I feel like Tales from the Crypt is, hence it going on my top 10 list for horror films released in March. So that's Tales from the Crypt. And this is a Scream Factory double feature that Steve got that also has Vault of Horror on it as well. All right. So the next one is one of my favorites from 1983. This is the Canadian film Curtains, which I don't know why this doll is in it, folks. That doll is creepy as hell. And every time that doll shows up, somebody's going to die, folks. So it also has one incredible scene. I mean, this is a slasher film, in my opinion, very well made slasher film about a woman who wants to play Audra in this upcoming film. I think is it. Yeah, she's a crazed character, Audra, And there's several women that literally are dying to be or to play Audra in John Vernon. He plays the director, Jonathan Stryker. Um, he, but he's really not a very good person. And all he really wants to do is he wants to get Samantha Egger out of the way. So he gets her committed to a mental institution for the majority of the film, just so he can have a little slap and tickle with these ladies that are coming to audition for the part of Audra. And somebody is slowly killing these actresses off. And I don't want to, spoil it for you if you haven't seen Curtains. But to get to the incredible scene, it's not really like a super incredible kill or anything, but the lead up to it is what's so fantastic. And that creepy hag mask that the killer wears, when Leslie Donaldson's character is ice skating, and then she stops ice skating, and the killer, dressed in this hag mask and a sickle, I think is what they've got, is skating on the ice with the upraised. They've got this really creepy hag mask on. And that is one of the standout scenes for me in this movie. It's something that sticks with you. But the whole movie is very well made, has some decent kills in it. The first time I saw it, I was not able to figure out who the killer was. So that's all good. So we've got John Vernon, we got Samantha Egger, Linda Thornton, Lynn Griffin is in this too, Leslie Donaldson, like I said. So, and it's directed by a guy named Jonathan Stryker. So they gave the director in the movie, John Vernon's character, they gave him the name Jonathan Stryker as well. So that's Curtains. All right, so this is Steve's copy of this because I thought I had, or this is one of his copies of this. I thought I had a copy of it, but apparently I don't. This is Lucio Fulci's New York Ripper. Now, a lot of people have said that New York Ripper is a very mean-spirited film. And I'm not going to disagree with that it's a mean-spirited film. So we have a killer who's not only slashing up women around town, but he also likes to talk like Donald Duck and taunt the police, which makes it adds a kind of a layer of cheese, kind of a cushioning layer of cheese to a movie that without this would be completely mean-spirited. And I don't know if Fulci did that on purpose or not. I think Lucio Fulci did things his way, and he didn't really give a shit what anybody thought about what he was putting out, especially critics. So I think he put stuff out for himself. But I like New York Ripper. I mean, it's not so mean-spirited to me that I can't, get some enjoyment out of it as a slasher film. And I think that Fulci did an excellent job with it. So Steve's got this cool lenticular cover too, with the half-naked chick on there. But anyway, it's these down here before they fall over. All right, so we got 3 more to go here. So people might be shocked by this because I didn't used to be a fan of this entry into the Friday the 13th series, folks, because I always thought, well, it has, generic Jason in it. It doesn't have real Jason in it. And that's Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. But I can thank my buddies over at Dead Pit Radio for kind of allowing me to see this in a new light because the movie is really fun. It's a really fun slasher film, even if it does have, discount Jason or whatever in it, you know. Um, it's still fun. It's still a Friday the 13th movie. There's still slashing in it. And so, little bit about the plot. I'm not going to go deep into the plot because I think a lot of you out there have seen every Friday the 13th movie that's come out, just like I have. And so, we have Tommy. Remember Tommy from Part 4? Remember that look he gave at the end of the final chapter? Like he was crazy? Well, Tommy ends up in a mental hospital, and then he gets transferred to what they refer to in the movie as a transitional home. It's supposed to prepare him for life on the outside. Okay. So he ends up going to this transitional home where there's a wide variety of characters with different things that are ailing them mentally. Okay. So Tommy's still dealing with nightmares about Jason Voorhees, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, you are right, TJ. You say, by the way, 2 directors worked on Curtains, Richard Shiupka and Peter R. Simpson. The first guy left because of creative differences. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Peter Simpson, TJ, because Peter Simpson has, I don't think he's living now. I think he passed away several years ago. But Peter Simpson was, I guess, notorious for not being able to get along with people. Even Paul Jaja, who did music for a lot of these Canadian horror films, said that, 4-letter words were part of his just everyday vocabulary and he was crude and all that. But Paul Jaja said he got along with Peter Simpson pretty well. But apparently, Peter Simpson was a hard guy to get along with. And he was a producer on most of these films. But thank you for bringing that up, TJ. But this is still pretty standard Friday the 13th territory. You've got slashing and stuff going on, and it's fun. It just took me several years to realize exactly how fun Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, was and is. So, down to the final 2. The next one is Brian De Palma's Sisters from 1973. Now, folks, if you've never seen Sisters, wow, just wow. This one is one to me that gets under your skin and stays there for a while. Now, there might be some people that disagree with me, and that's okay. But this tells the story of Siamese twins, both played, or I guess I should say conjoined twins, to be more respectful. But back in the day, they called them Siamese twins. Whether they should have or not, that's what they called them. But they're both played by Margot Kidder. There's Danielle and oh gosh, what is her sister's name in here? Holy. Yeah, Dominique. Danielle is the good one, and Dominique is the bad one. Dominique is the severely disturbed twin who basically will kill any man that tries to come between her and Danielle. Danielle, I believe, is a successful actress and very beautiful and all that. And this movie is a very good suspense horror film. And I say horror because there's a lot of bloody slashings that go on here, but it also fits the mode of a psychological thriller as well. Um, and I have loved this one since the first time I saw it. I have literally loved this one. Really get, like I said, really gets under your skin, kind of stays there. The way Margot Kidder played both the roles is just absolutely fantastic. Of course, credit has to go to Brian De Palma for directing this masterpiece, in my opinion. And Hollywood Reporter said this was the most genuinely frightening film since Hitchcock's Psycho. So there you go. So that's Sisters. So the last film I want to talk about is one that I'm going to be watching upcoming. And that's April Fool's Day, folks. Yes, this one came out in March prior to April Fool's Day. And this one is directed by Fred Walton, who also did When a Stranger Calls, one of my other favorite horror films. Yes, kids, April Fool's Day is a good one. And, you know, I don't want to give away some of the twists and turns in case there are some of you out there that have not seen April Fool's Day. And I'll tell you, folks, I don't know why, but I rented this first time around, the first time I saw it. And I don't know why I didn't notice the braided hair in the shape of a noose there. I did see the woman holding her glass up. She's got a butcher knife behind her back, and everybody else in the film is sitting there like they're having the best time of their life. Everything's fun and games, right? So there's a lot of April Fool's Day pranks, and you begin to suspect that somebody is preying on these people, because first they leave little reminders of things, bad things that these people have done in their past. And then things become more ominous where people actually start getting killed off. But that's as far as I want to go with the plot of it. You know, basically it's Muffy, played by Deborah Foreman. This actually has the two Deborahs in it. It has Deborah Foreman and Deborah Goodrich. Deborah Goodrich is the blonde in the film. You can see her right there, leaned back in her chair on the left there. Amy Steele's also in this. She's blonde as well, but and Deborah Foreman is the brunette Deborah, and they were in several films in the 80s, sometimes together, sometimes not. But so Muffy invites a bunch of her college friends and her cousin to a weekend at a house that her family owns. So, again, I'm not going to get too deep into the plot because there may still be people out there that have not seen April Fool's Day. But nice little slasher. And also, if you want to see a little extra added on to this, and I think they actually either were thinking about or had filmed the scene, but it wasn't used. If you read the novel April Fool's Day, yes, there is a novel out there. And I have it. I have a paperback copy of the novel. And it's really interesting to see where the movie took little deviations or where they decided not to include that last little part in it. So sometimes it's interesting just if there is a novel to go along and bookend the movie. Sometimes it's good if you can get your hands on a copy, and you could probably get your hands on a used copy of this. I found this in a secondhand store. at one time, and I've still got it. I've still got my copy. I should have brought it in here, but I didn't think about it. But so that's April Fool's Day. And I have officially reached the end of the Evil Dead Chicks top 10 horror films released in the month of March. So hopefully, you guys and gals have maybe discovered something else you can watch in March that's horror related that doesn't have damn leprechauns in it. So um, I hope that piqued your interest and gave you some ideas for other things that you could be watching with the horror slant for the month of March. And we are into the month of March right now. It is March the 1st today, folks. So dig into your movies, see what you can find. And if you don't like my choices, hey, get out there on the internet and see what other horror films were released in the month of March. This is just my top 10. You may find some others that is like, I don't know why Dana didn't cover this one because this one was great. But anyway, as always, I want to thank the poet and Kit and TJ for being in the chat with me this evening and for keeping me company in the chat. I appreciate each and every one of you guys and gals. And if you were watching along and you didn't feel comfortable getting in the chat, or maybe you were watching the stream on a device where you couldn't chat at the same time, like a smart TV, I thank you for watching as well. And for those of you that weren't able to join me live or weren't able to stay in here for the complete live stream and you watch this on the replay, I appreciate each one of you guys and gals as well. And as always, before I get off of here, but I will be back at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for my path to becoming a positive renegade. I'm going to be talking about coming back from the dead or bringing your channel back from the dead when things go awry, folks. So we're going to be learning all about that at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. So if you didn't get to join me for this one, but can join me later, I'd love to have you, as well as the people that were here for this one. But I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, or get off of here for now, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday night, folks. If I don't see you guys and gals in my next stream at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'll see everybody next time.